Welcome to Rules I Refuse to Follow, a weekly bite-sized segment where I unpack the unspoken rules women are expected to follow in business, relationships, and daily life, and lovingly burn them to the fucking ground. This is Too Much, Not Enough, the podcast helping 6- and 7-figure female leaders understand how chasing success is causing low self-worth and anxiety, and how awakening your divine feminine energy will reignite flow, abundance, and ease. I'm your host, Hannah O'Donovan, and this week's rule: be professional, not emotional. I used to really buy into the fact that there is no room for emotion in the workplace. And as someone who feels things really big and is often ruled by her emotions, more so than I would say the average person, even the average woman, that was tough because it felt like I was hiding a big part of myself at work and wearing a pretty heavy mask all the time. But it felt unprofessional to bring emotion into situations. As I transitioned from full-time corporate into working for myself, I called in teams who I recognized it was safe to be more emotional around. And as I was able to share more of what was really going on in my life, because that's the thing, like life doesn't just stop because you have a big project going on at work or a big deadline that you're hitting. Some of the hardest things have happened to me when I used to do events and was on site, for example. And for me personally, bottling up that emotion, hiding that emotion felt like I was going to explode. And I'll caveat this with, there's a time and a place, and you can't just projectile vomit your emotions on anyone and everyone and walk away. That's the case anywhere in life, personal or professional. However, I no longer buy into this idea that you cannot show emotion at work. In fact, I think that when we are vulnerable and we are responsibly sharing our emotions with those around us, it allows others to see into the humanity of each other and realize that, like, you don't have to be a robot to succeed in life. I think it's such a bullshit myth that we have been fed, that if we are emotional at work, we are not going to get anywhere. And don't get me wrong, there are places that will not value this. There are places where you may be penalized for bringing your emotions to work. But I've seen over and over and over again, the leaders that show up with their heart first, willing to be vulnerable, impact their teams 10 times anyone who is not willing to be vulnerable at work. And I believe that this rule is more important than ever with the rise of AI, with the rise of machine learning, and this fear of how humans are going to navigate and find their place in work. Sharing emotion, being vulnerable is more important than ever, because this is what sets us apart as humans. Our ability to feel the full breadth of the human experience and live to tell the tale. Our ability to create from a place of emotion, whether that be love, sadness, grief, joy, exhilaration, excitement, whatever it is, our ability to put that into who we are, how we move through the world, and what we produce is the future. And so I am rejecting this rule because I think that it has not served us well. It has created environments where we have to leave very important parts of ourselves at the door in order to survive. And that may work on a short-term basis, but again, I have seen on a long-term basis over and over and over again how it crushes especially the most sensitive people in our society and leaves them absolutely drained, where they cannot fathom how they're going to continue forward. And we lose brilliant minds in our workplaces because of this fact. So being professional and being emotional are not mutually exclusive. Emotions are a fundamental part of being human. And in order to bring our whole selves into experiences, which is how we connect and create the most brilliant and innovative things in this world, we need to be able to bring all of us. So that's this week's rule that I'm saying the big old fuck you to. Join me next week as I tackle another societal expectation that I call bullshit on.